You're locked into Inception Radio Network, Superior, Wisconsin.
And now your host of California MUFON Radio, Lorien Fenton.
Welcome, everyone, to the California MUFON Radio Show. I'm your host, Lorien Fenton. So glad to have you all here with me on Inception Radio Network. I hope you're having a great night. It's cold in Marin again. I can't believe it because it's just, it was 65 degrees the other day. So what's going on? I mean, it's nuts, but it's supposed to be like LA right now, and it's not. I'm just kind of upset about that. I'd like it to be 75. I think I'm moving to San Diego. I'm not sure about all this. I'm not liking the cold. I don't know what is happening out here. And I got a cold because of it, and I keep fighting the thing and pushing it back, and it comes back again, and I don't know what to do. So anyhow, I'm going to try to get in the chat room here real quick with everyone, but I've got a couple of announcements as usual. I just want to get those out of the way before we start the show tonight. I have an amazing guest with us. He seems very, very well educated, which is good because we need more and more people that are actually educated in the phenomenon of UFOs, and it's going to be really interesting. He's kind of a scientific kind of guy. His name is Robert Davis, or Bob Davis. We'll find out which he prefers when he gets on here in a few minutes. But anyhow, it's going to be a very interesting show, I think, because I think he's looking at it from the non-abductee perspective. I don't know yet because I haven't met the man really in the sense of the word, and we're going to introduce ourselves to each other tonight here on the radio show. So it'll be a lot of fun. Okay, so first thing that's happening is I'll be speaking at the LA Conscious Life Expo on February 8th. I believe it's February 8th. I'm pretty sure it's February 8th at 5 p.m. and my talk is free. And it's going to be around the whole mind control alien consciousness connection. It's only 45 minutes. I wish I had 2 hours, but I'm going to try to pack it in as fast as I can and let you guys know about my personal experiences and the things I've been discovering lately. And now, a lot of you know my story about the bunny rabbit, manifesting the rabbit when I was about 6 or 7 years old. And now I'm starting to wonder if there isn't a time travel phenomena involved with all this. So beyond aliens and angels and manifestation and quantum physics, I'm now heading into the time travel arena examining that experience. And I got to say, I've been blessed. I've been very blessed because that did happen to me. People go, oh, that didn't happen. You're imagining it. But, my whole family knows about it. It's been a story in my family forever. So it's not like I'm making this up, folks. And I'm really happy it happened because I didn't think about it for 40 years. Seriously, never. Once in a while I'd think about it. I actually even wrote in 1997, I wrote the story down for my nephew. And I was going to tell him our family history in stories. It was a project I was starting, but I got so busy with my life, I just never got beyond that first story of the bunny rabbit. So kind of interesting that I only got to that story, but I don't know. It's all a very interesting phenomena to me, and I'm really happy it happened to me because it's given me something this last few years to really grasp onto in the whole alien, UFO, mind control, the holographic mind. You guys name it. Now I'm adding time travel. I mean, interdimensional portals. I mean, it just goes on and on. There's so many different ways to look at this. So that's what I'm going to be talking about quite a bit at the LA Conscious Life Expo. Now, the next thing I need to announce is UFO Congress is coming up, and I really do hope that a lot of you out there are going to be able to make that. It's going to be phenomenal. I'm going to be there. A couple other hosts, their friends of mine, are going to be there. We're going to do a lot of live broadcasting. Of course, I'll be doing my show live on Wednesday night from there. It's going to be really a lot of fun. And Bob Lazar is going to be speaking at the conference this year. So to be honest with you guys, he's the only reason I'm going. I just want to corner him for 1 second and say, I always believed you, man. That's what I want to do. So I'm very excited about that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And George Knapp will be there. And I've never met George in person. I have met let's see, George Norrie, Tom Danheiser and I are friends, as you guys all know, because he's been on my show. I know a few people in the business, not a lot. John B. Wells is a friend of mine as well, personal friend. And, so I know all these people, but I've never met George Knapp. And I just hope that he's as cool as I think he's going to be. And I really hope I get to shake his hand because he is one of my favorite people. And I'll tell you, the one guy that I've never met that I would give my left toe, seriously, I would cut it off right in front of him, is Art Bell. I'd give anything to meet Art Bell. I would just, if anybody could get to me to just say, hi, Art, you are my hero. I want to tell him the story about when I found out he was going off the air forever. And I would love to shake his hand. I think he's an amazing guy for what he's done. Talk about time travel, huh? That guy, I think he was from the future. I don't know where he's coming from, but man, he was amazing. He changed everything along with the X-Files. They were like the two things in my life that just completely gave me an education. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't even be doing what I'm doing. I'd still be off kind of in the psychic world, dabbling with tarot cards, I think. So anyhow, okay. And then get to UFO Congress. Check out the website. I think it's ufocongress.com. I'm pretty sure. Gosh, I'm sorry, folks. I don't have any websites open tonight because we're having some technical difficulties. So let me see if I can. Yeah, UFO. That's my conference. Oh, I guess I better talk to you about that. Okay, hold on. Yeah, ufocongress.com, International UFO Conference and Film Festival. So check out the website, go there and do that because it's going to be a lot of fun. Hope you can make it. And then the final, maybe not the final, but I'm getting there. I'm getting through them all as fast as I can. UFOCon 2015, that's my conference. It'll be near the San Francisco Bay Area down in San Jose, in a little suburb of San Jose called Santa Clara. And it's going to be fun. I mean, I can't tell you guys how much fun it's going to be. It's going to be phenomenally fun. I've got a lot of interesting people coming. There's speakers on alien contact. Plutronus is coming, and he's going to talk about his contact as well as the UFO detector he's building. It's going to be really cool. And I got the guy from Australia that is doing what is he doing? On truthfunders.com. That's another website you guys got to check out. It's all about supporting people like Indiegogo and Kickstarter that are doing things in the ghost hunting, the paranormal, the alien, the UFO, whatever, crypto monsters, Bigfoot, ancient aliens, that type of stuff. That's what this website is all about. It's about funding those projects. Denise Williams is on there, the John Mack movie lady. She's getting on there right now. Diane Powell's on there with the Telepathy Project. My friend Noland, Robert Nolan, the guy that I'm going to have at the conference, I got to get his stuff up there on the website, which reminds me. And, just a lot of amazing people are on Truth Funders. Even UFO Con is up on Truth Funders. So if you can't make UFO Con this year, you can always go to Truth Funders and donate to our success, which we really need help, you guys, because I don't do this to make money. I'm not UFO Congress. You know, I love UFO Congress. I love going. I love the whole atmosphere. It's wonderful. But, you know, they're more of a business. They've got to stay in business. They've got to keep this thing rolling. They've got to make thousands of dollars. Their bills alone are just hovering under 100,000, I'm sure. I mean, I've crunched the numbers for that conference, and it's a huge expense. But I don't do that. You know, mine is, let's see if I can make the 10 or 11 or 12,000. We need to just make this thing happen bare bones and get by and have a good time. And that's what we do. So, you know, it's not one of those money-making propositions. It's definitely a labor of love. And I do hope that if you're anywhere on the West Coast, you come out for it, because it's one of the funnest conferences on the West Coast. I've had many, many speakers tell me, and you know, I never have trouble getting speakers. Never. I have people begging me. This guy might even be flying in from Australia because it's so much fun. And you guys, I can't pay them. I literally cannot pay them. But the event is so cool and so much fun that they all show up. You know, it's great. I just cover their expenses. And I can guarantee you at these big conferences, they have to pay people to be there. I mean, it's just part of the game. So anyhow, I'm really transparent about where all the money goes. So, I mean, it's just, you know, bottom line it, folks, it's a labor of love, definitely. And my nonprofit runs it. It's nothing where I don't even make enough money to pay my rent off of it for 1 month. So yeah, so definitely if you can make it, please do. It's going to be really, really fun. And wow, lasting relationships happen out of my conferences, always. So please make it if you can. That's UFOcon2015.com, and check out UFO Congress, because it is a lot of fun too. It's a different type of atmosphere. It's more I call it the big boys event. So there you go. UFOcongress.com. And let's see, finally, I'm going to try to get in the chat room and chat with you guys tonight, because our guest, I don't know him that well, or at all, basically. And I would like for you to ask questions in the last part of the show, because you guys are so smart. You're just amazingly smart, and it just blows my mind that the questions you guys come up with. So we're going to start in here in a few seconds. And don't forget, everyone, do your best to really check out the MUFON meetings, because lately, the MUFON meetings in Southern California and Northern California, we're getting amazing people speaking at our MUFON meetings. And we can do them by Skype. We can get them there in person. But it's becoming absolutely mind-boggling how many people are showing up at these meetings, you guys. And if you do that too, you'll be part of the movement. You'll be part of what's happening. You'll be connecting with other people. You know what's going on. It's really, really an important thing to be doing in your life. I highly recommend it right now, because things are changing out there so rapidly. It's not, like I said, anymore about that UFO in the sky. But I got to tell you, after my sighting on 11/1, I'm blown away, because it got me back in the game again, and it's, you know, they're real. I mean, they're absolutely real. I actually saw one for the first time at 57 years old. So, but, you know, maybe it wasn't the first time, because of that whole incident that happened to me in September of 2011, where I awoke to a whole darker side of the whole UFO phenomena and the alien agenda and what have you. So who knows? I may have been, and who knows, as my friends say, I've probably been abducted my whole life and don't remember any of it. And, you know, I got to be thankful for that. I really do. So there you are. So anyhow, those are the announcements today. I couldn't find the MUFON announcement, but they are, that's what I want to tell you. The symposium's coming up too, but it's not going to be till September this year. I think I mentioned that last week. We'll talk more about that next week. And I really hope that you guys can make that. If you're living in the LA area or anywhere on the West Coast, that's going to be an amazing event too. So anyhow, all right. Now, I hope everybody can hear me, because my Firefox just crashed and I got dumped out of the internet to get on there to connect on the chat room. So let's restart Firefox and hope that my Skype doesn't decide to crash on me. So we'll see. Apparently, I'm okay. Right, MJ? I'm assuming that everything's all right. Just type in there and let me know that we're okay. And yes, we are. Okay, wonderful, because I just crashed about 40 windows were open, I think. No, not that many, but you know what I mean. All right. Okay, so here we are. We're finally getting to my guest. Yay! The crowd goes wild. And that is Robert Davis, Ph.D. Robert, are you with me?
Yes, I am.
Oh, wonderful. Great. So it's really nice to have you here on Inception Radio Network. I really appreciate it. You sent out some type of, I would call it a press release type of thing, or a public, relations release, where you're asking to be interviewed on shows. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and the network forwarded right on to me. I'm sure they forwarded to other people too as well, but they forwarded it right on to me thinking, oh, this is right up Lorien's alley. So, and then you gave me a call today and we've connected, and I'm very excited about your book coming out. So before we get to the book and what you're all about and what you've done, around the articles you have on your webpage and all the things you've been looking into over the years here, tell us a bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, and why you're doing this.
Well, I am a scientist through my education, and I've been a professor at the State University of New York over the past 30-plus years, living up here in northern New York, and I find that your description of 67-degree temperatures out in California a little perplexing, since I'm dealing with a 3-degree Fahrenheit atmosphere outside with a northerly breeze of 20 miles an hour. So don't complain.
Okay, I won't. I think I got to go to Mexico pretty soon. I can't take it anymore. It's cold for me. I'm here with 3 sweatshirts on and booties, and I got a blanket wrapped around me. I'm not kidding you. And it's like, 45 or 50 outside right now, and I'm freezing. So, it's funny.
For your listeners who may be interested, they may be able to find my website at the UFOphenomenon.com, which provides an overview of my book, which will soon be released on Amazon. And the title is The UFO Phenomenon, Should I Believe? And as a scientist, I've always found the unexplained very intriguing, and for some unknown reason, the UFO phenomenon has really stimulated my interest since childhood. And I feel that this phenomenon is as intriguing as it gets. And I always wondered about why I was always interested in this. And maybe this affinity evolved from the flying saucer hype and repeated Star Trek episodes over the popular frozen TV dinners that we all enjoyed or not enjoyed during the 60s. And while a rerun of a Star Trek episode, 50 or so years later would certainly be engaging, I also find this phenomenon to be as well. It certainly presents very unique topics of debate and research challenges. And if we could adequately address it, if ever, I do believe it's going to have important implications for science and society. But I never intended to write a book on this topic, despite my significant interest in it, until my wife and I, who visited Sedona, Arizona, one of the most beautiful cities in the country, if not the world, whereupon we observed 2 orange orbs, which suddenly appeared in the night sky. One did, and then while watching that, a second orange orb either emanated from the first one or it came from behind it. Hard to say. And it's hard to estimate the size of these orbs, but they remained stationary after one moved apart from the other, and then it remained stationary for several minutes until it winked out.
Wow.
Now, some may some may ascribe that to E.T. I don't, however. It certainly can be a form of extraterrestrial visitation, or certainly an atmospheric phenomenon of some type. So that incident motivated me to sit down, do some significant research, trying to utilize an objective approach about the many controversial and intriguing issues that are associated with this very unique, stimulating phenomenon. But I think one question that we can answer with an unequivocal yes is, do UFOs exist? And they do. But the existence of these UFOs doesn't necessarily mean that physical craft from another solar system or space-time has visited Earth. It simply indicates that there's an unexplained moving object in the sky, which is typically a weather balloon, satellite, meteorological or atmospheric event of some type, or possibly an advanced aircraft of a black box nature, among others. But the more, I think, elusive fundamental question is, does the collective evidence provide undeniable confirmation that non-human intelligent beings are operating these UFOs and interacting with humans?
Yes.
So my position, however, on the phenomenon is that of an agnostic. And based on what I think is a fairly thorough and objective analysis of the evidence, I'm not able to firmly commit to a belief in either the existence or non-existence of intelligently controlled UFOs of non-earthly origin. I simply do not know. Clearly.
Well, and let me just interject something here. Do you think that they're all ours?
I don't know. I am certain, however, that these unusual area events defy logical explanation. Despite the steadfast convictions by many researchers that they are extraterrestrial or extra-dimensional or from our future. But I don't think there is any empirical evidence that provides that undeniable proof to support such claims. So my position, however, doesn't exclude the remote possibility that some of these unexplained UFOs, of which there are approximately 5 to 10% that have been deemed to be of unexplained origin, are operated by a form of intelligence from somewhere other than Earth.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Despite the contention by many ufologists and researchers that they are governed by non-human intelligence from somewhere. But clearly the belief in this phenomenon as extraterrestrial craft certainly has remained very high over the past several decades, despite what I consider as tenuous evidence to support many of these controversial claims by leading UFO researchers that non-human intelligence govern these physical craft and are visiting our planet, or that non-human intelligence are abducting humans, or the military has retrieved crashed UFOs, or that the government and or the military are withholding information of UFOs from the public. I don't think there is any firm, irrefutable evidence to support that. Now, I don't discount that as remote possibility.
Okay, so what we're looking at here basically is your stance is that because we don't have hard evidence that we have to weigh it 50-50 and just kind of accept it that it could be happening, but we're not going to take it at full face value that it's a definite yes, this is happening. Am I correct on this?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Okay, and that's fine, because I deal with a lot of people that are still very skeptical. And now you have seen a phenomenon, though, of the orange orbs breaking apart and whatever that you saw. Mm-hmm. And so that could be related also. It wasn't a craft as we know a UFO. It was some type of phenomenon that could be related to UFOs, but we don't know. And even in the UFO community, just for your edification, most people believe that those orbs are a type of craft, but they're like what they call an interdimensional craft. They're not really a spacecraft hardwired, like military spacecraft type of thing. And my gosh, Robert, I can't believe this. We're already hitting our first break. I just looked down at the clock, but we started late, so I apologize to everybody about that. I just having technical difficulties. So we've hit our first break, and we'll talk a little bit more about this topic about, disbelief and undisbelief, or whatever you want to call it, right after the break, folks. So stay with us. We'll be right back with Dr. Robert Davis.
You're locked into Inception Radio Network, Superior, Wisconsin.
Don't have a computer? Is your internet connection down? Don't worry. Use your trusty cell phone or landline and call into our listen line at 401-283-6700 to listen to the Inception Radio Network 24/7. Again, that call-in number is 401-283-6700. For the Inception Radio Network, I am MJ.
Hi, Inception Radio Network listeners. This is Amanda. Just a reminder that Inception Radio Network is on Twitter. Follow us at I_R_N and keep up to date about who's on tonight, what interviews they'll be doing, who's guest spotting, what topics they'll be covering. Tweet to us, tweet about us, retweet topics to your friends, and most importantly, never miss a great show again. That's I_R_N.
Do you have a smartphone? If so, Inception Radio Network is the best app for you. Available on iTunes, Android, Samsung, and most other app stores. Just search Inception Radio Network. With the app, you can listen live, check out podcasts of recent and past shows, view our videos, see what shows are coming up, who the guests are, and, via the chat room, send live questions to those guests. You know it makes sense. Check your app store now. Inception Radio Network. I'll see you there.
Hello, IRN listeners. This is MJ saying hello and sharing an awesome secret I discovered. It's called DreamNuage.com. Fresh, raw, organic ingredients are used to create all their products. They are made in very small batches to ensure quality and freshness. Handmade in the USA, each product is created with care and with the finest organic ingredients. There are no preservatives, dyes, or chemicals in any product. Stop by Dream Nuage and relax. That's DreamNuage.com. Simple, raw, organic.
Hello, I'm Pat Usford, inviting you to tune in to Epic Voyages every Monday evening at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Inception Radio Network. To find out more about Epic and how you can become a member, visit epicvoyagers.com.
EPIC is Extraordinary Phenomena Investigations Council, the forum for scholars, experts, and those fascinated by and involved in the study of ancient civilizations, conspiracies, cryptozoology, ETs, and UFOs, fringe science, the paranormal, and all manner of extraordinary phenomena. Please join EPIC as we examine the mysteries of the world and beyond on epicvoyagers.com. And for updates on the upcoming interactive video presentations, the latest news and discussion on the EPIC forum, as well as research, investigations, and membership opportunities. Epic Voyages program schedule is on the Inception Radio Network. Thank you for joining us.
Howdy, this is Joe Mars. I'm inviting you to tune in to Epic Voyages, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, Monday nights, right here on Inception Radio Network. To find out more about Epic and how you can become a member, visit epicvoyagers.com. That's EPICVOYAGERS.com.
Hello, everyone. Lorien Fenton here, host of the California MUFON Radio Show, asking if you'd like special access to exclusive and amazing information about UFOs, the paranormal, and all things unexplained. If you're nodding yes, then join IRN's Insider Club. As an Insider Club member, you'll get an all-access pass to premier Inception Radio Network content for only $4.99 a month. This includes live UFO and paranormal conferences, live streaming UFO skywatches, exclusive IRN radio and TV productions, and of course, paying radio with MJ and Ken Storch. So don't wait any longer. Visit InceptionRadioNetwork.com and click on Member Login to join IRN's Insider Club and get your VIP access today. Welcome back, everyone, to the California MUFON Radio Show. I'm your host, Lorien Fenton. So glad you're with us here tonight on Inception Radio Network, and I hope all of you have gotten your app. Because if I'm not at home and I'm not sitting here in front of my computer, I'm obviously somewhere where I'm working, and I love to turn my cell phone on and listen to Inception Radio Network through my app on my cell phone. It is so much fun. I hope you're doing it. And also, have you guys joined the Insiders Club yet? The Insiders Club is going to get really cool this year. I'm going to be doing quite a few specials for it. I know that other hosts here at the network are. It's going to become quite the place to hang out. So I do hope that you do that. It's only $5 a month, and you'll be supporting the network. You'll be supporting MJ's work and Joe's and Bob's and mine and every other host here, Rita Louise. I mean, it goes on and on. I could just mention names and names, but the reality is $5 a month would help us out. It would, you know, we're going to, at some point, I hope we expand a little bit here, and we're going to need a little bit of cash to do that. We're going to need some more equipment. We're going to need another T1 line, and we're going to need another server. I mean, I don't know what we're all going to need, but the bottom line is we're going to need something. So if you're out there supporting IRN, we'd really appreciate it. And let's see, where else do I want to go here? Okay, that's it. That's all I'm going to do for ads today. And, I will talk about MUFON a little bit because I'm going to ask Bob that right now. Now, Bob, before we go back into the next questions I have for you, we were just talking about the fact that you look at this kind of from a half skeptical, half believer point of view. Am I correct? A very scientific point of view.
Yes. That's true.
Great. And that's good. And I was just telling you on the break, I think that's absolutely phenomenal that you're doing that, because the people that dive into it, you know, full-blown head first, and they're just not being scientific about it, they usually don't get very far in the community when they write a book or they talk to people about it, because people think they're a little woo-woo. And what I have found that's very interesting about this whole thing, Robert, is that the people that do that usually are attacked incessantly all the time. Now, I'm beginning to wonder if it isn't because what they're talking about is so true and so real that maybe the government doesn't want them talking about it. What's your take on that?
Well, you know, a lot of people make an error in inductive reasoning, in that there's something called, you know, confirmation bias, whereby people, all of us, me included certainly, have a tendency to accept evidence that they read or hear as being true simply because they want it to be true, or they believe in the fact that UFOs are extraterrestrial in origin. So we often become less objective than we should be in trying to ascertain whether or not the evidence we're hearing or reading about is in fact realistic, valid. So we have a tendency to believe what we want to believe based on what we hear. And my intention for writing this book is to hopefully allow the reader to develop a more objective and informed perspective of many of the controversial and intriguing issues that surround this phenomenon. But clearly, UFOs do exist. Question, obviously, is what governs and regulates its behavior. That's the main question. And so, again, many ufologists make conclusions that in part are based on unfounded evidence, although there certainly is something very unusual in the form of aerial events that defy logical explanation and which seem to defy the laws of inertia and gravity. That may tend to persuade people to believe that since 5 to 10% of so-called UFOs are not explainable, and that is based on several different scientific investigations over time, that these objects must be extraterrestrial or extra-dimensional or from our future or paranormal or whatever people may ascribe this phenomenon to be.
Yes.
And I think that's a bold leap without firm, irrefutable evidence. Although, again, many ufologists and non-ufologists contend that they are ET in nature or of non-earthly origin in some fashion. And they may be. I'm not here to say that they are or are not. My main intention here, again, to write this book is to not only provide evidence in an attempt to provide it in an objective, all-encompassing way, but also to provide a basis whereby the reader can better be able to judge on the basis of the evidence whether or not it is ET in origin, or are there other possible, let's just say, earthly origins that remain elusive, that do not conform to physical laws or current physical principles, that may remain to be found over time. There's certainly much that we do not understand that eventually will be explained through appropriate scientific research. The UFO phenomenon is included in that. But many people, I think, make that bold leap into reflexively believing that it's ET that's responsible for these UFOs. And again, that may be the case. But I can't say 100% for sure that it is. Until what? Until CNN on breaking news presents a picture of an alien craft, or they land on the White House lawn, so to speak.
And it's never going to happen, by the way. Just so you know,
it may or may not. It may or may not. I'd like to see it, but that's the kind of evidence, among other types of scientific-based evidence, if that can be done. Because this phenomenon behaves in such an unusual manner, we may not have the scientific principles available to us at this time to adequately evaluate and determine the true nature of this phenomenon.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Because of its perplexing nature.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly on this.
There are compelling reasons why UFO believers feel that ET is behind this, extraterrestrial beings are behind this of some sort, because of the similarity of anecdotal evidence by credible witnesses. We have certainly simultaneous radar and visual sightings, multiple witnesses with UFOs. There are certainly declassified government and military UFO documents which clearly indicate that the government, not only in the United States but many countries, feel that there is a phenomenon that is occurring, which remains unexplainable, and they have great interest in it ever since the 1940s up till probably present time. And also, there's witness testimony of alleged crashed UFOs. Again, alleged, and people contend that we've recovered alien bodies. Well, I'd like to see it. Plus, they're inexplicable maneuvers, again, that defy laws of inertia and gravity. Now, could it be an atmospheric, geologic phenomenon of some type that we don't fully understand? Of course. And I'd like to get to that eventually by talking a little bit at some point in time in our discussion about plasma as a potential basis to explain some, at least, of the 5 to 10% of UFOs that have deemed to be unexplainable.
Okay, wait. Okay, I got to interrupt you for just a second. About 20 questions have all popped up into my head during listening to you in the last 5 minutes. The first one is, how would you feel if tomorrow an alien appeared in your living room? What would you do then? Would you pull your book from the shelf? Would you redo your whole thinking about it all? Would you know they're real? Would you completely change your complete thinking about this? And the reason I ask you this is there's a lot of people out there that they've had contact like that are scientifically minded like you are, and they don't want to even acknowledge the fact that they've had that contact. And then there are people out there that you're talking about that have had contact, and they go out and tell the world it's all real and they absolutely believe it. And there are people like me who've never had contact that I know of, and I absolutely believe that it's real. I don't know to what extent. That's why I say I wholeheartedly agree with you, because 50% of me always goes, well, there's really no aliens, and 50% of me always says, well, there are. So I'm always in the middle of this, kind of going back and forth. But I have now seen an actual UFO. So my tendency now at this point, having seen a UFO, is to say, I got to break it down again. Is it us or is it them? Because frankly, Robert, who in the heck is making these kind of spacecraft that can go like 1 mile an hour and hover and then disappear? Where's that technology coming from? So
exactly. That technology, again, as inexplicable as it may be, does not definitively indicate that it is of non-human intelligence that is governing it.
And I agree with you on that.
It may be. I don't discount that as a remote possibility. But if an alien creature, the so-called gray, and there are many different types of alien creatures that have been described by people over time, if it appeared in my house tomorrow, I guess my initial reaction would be to offer him or her or it some coffee and to sit down and try to engage in some communication, if at all possible. If I can remain coherent, despite my shocking state of mind at the time. But yes, many people do contend that they have had these kinds of personal encounters. I'm not sure if it's of the fourth kind or fifth kind, however it's categorized these days. But yes, especially as it pertains to the alien abduction phenomenon, which is another area that I address in the book and has been an interesting topic for many books. The question is, are those types of encounters real, or is it some type of psychocultural phenomenon? And there are two sides of the equation in terms of what UFO believers say and UFO debunkers and UFO skeptics. There's many different lines of reasoning associated with with this unique phenomenon, whether or not we see an unexplained aerial event that defies logical explanation, or we get upfront and personal with these so-called beings, which, again, many people contend that they have. I don't discount that as a possibility, that they are making direct, up-close and personal contact with an alien being, or not. It could be some other type of psychosocial phenomenon that we can't easily explain. And that's what's so intriguing about this phenomenon, because we have these very unique, unusual experiences at many levels. Some people will interpret it as being paranormal in nature. And many of these UFO encounters are also associated with telepathic communication, as people allege, with these beings. And after encounters, people feel that they have telepathic communication and have psychic powers that they never had before after such an encounter.
Absolutely.
So there are certainly very strange, poorly understood ways to explain personal experiences of these strange types. Again, it's more than intriguing to me, and as a so-called scientist, I find this mystery, like who built the pyramids, among other types of mysteries that exist on our planet and in the universe, as something that I feel requires a more all-encompassing theory, a greater dedication on the part of the scientific and political communities to more formally study this phenomenon in a manner which has not been done on a routine basis, although many organizations such as MUFON and NICAP, Norfolk, among others, have done a wonderful job, and they are to be commended for their attempts to better understand this unique phenomenon in their own unique ways. But still, decades of research have still not uncovered the mystery. Where are we today relative to decades ago in terms of our understanding of the phenomenon? I don't believe we've evolved very far in terms of our understanding, if at all.
I got to agree with you. And I think the biggest thing going on in the UFO community right now is the fact that I've gotten there myself, is the fact that we're all starting to realize that it may have much more to do with our consciousness than it has to do with actual extraterrestrials or spacecraft or whatever. It may be that our consciousness allows us to see into other, and I want to say parallel dimensions because I don't even know how to describe it, but other holographic universes that are simultaneously happening at the same time we're here in the time space that we're occupying. And I'm just starting to think it may be much more along those lines than it actually is physical flying ETs from another planet, or and when ghosts appear to us, it may just be the fact that they're tapping into a type of consciousness that we're able to see and we're able to pick up by a frequency. Who knows? I mean, it could be just that simple.
But it's simple, yes, but very difficult to explain, because the notion of extra-dimensional hypotheses and consciousness, or the dualism of the mind-body is intriguing. It's certainly theoretical, and it's not conclusive, nor is it
right. I mean, how
by the scientific community.
Exactly.
How are they going to prove that it exists?
Yeah. How are they going to prove
it? Exactly. That's one of the limitations that scientists have to deal with. How do how do you utilize a scientific method? How do you verify the extra-dimensional hypothesis or extraterrestrial hypothesis in using the scientific method, especially in a laboratory setting that can be replicated and by independent researchers that can conclusively prove it? So when we talk about the extra-dimensional hypothesis, we're talking about certainly a very theoretical notion that may very well account for what you refer to as a consciousness type of experience that may be behind the UFO encounter. But it is highly debatable. I mean, it gets into the area of quantum physics, which in and of itself is highly theoretical. But when we talk about the extra-dimensional hypothesis, we're talking about what? We're talking about parallel universes. We're talking about the grandfather paradox, such that if we go back in time, for instance, and if we're able to go back in time and we kill our grandfather, what does that mean for us in the present time? But Alan Hynek, by the way, Dr. J.
One
Alan
of my
Hynek,
favorite people. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, a leading ufologist back in the 60s and 70s. He was in a unique position to provide keen insights into the extraterrestrial and extra-dimensional hypothesis. And according to him, based on his investigation of hundreds of UFO reports as the scientific advisor to Project Blue Book, he said that there is sufficient evidence to defend both of these hypotheses. He contends, as well as others, that the extraterrestrial hypothesis can be confirmed by the radar and physical trace evidence, while the extra-dimensional hypothesis may be defended by the fact that these UFOs tend to materialize, as you said, and dematerialize, as well as the telepathic communication that people say they have with these beings in other craft, as well as, again, the kinematic behavior of UFOs that defy laws of gravity and inertia, and the fact that they levitate cars and people, as alleged, and the psychic phenomenon that is also associated with it. A lot of people who see UFOs tend to also see ghosts and have some, what's the term that the valet uses, high strangeness. And there are some very, very unusual experiences, which I also address in my book, cases of high strangeness, that's hard to understand, let alone explain, let alone to apply scientific principles to it, which cannot be done.
Yep,
and which is why I think the scientific community, as well as the political community, are reluctant to fully engage in studying the UFO phenomenon because of its lack of understanding, because of the fact that we do not have existing scientific principles that can be easily applied to explaining some of these issues that are part of the UFO phenomenon, these fringe issues, including crop circles and alien abductions and these cases of high strangeness which abound, like the UFO ranch in Utah, among other.
Oh, you mean the Skinwalker Ranch? Is that the?
Yes, the Skinwalker Ranch, and among other types of incidences and experiences that people have that, again, defy logical explanation. And a lot of scientists are very reluctant to get involved in research to help explain some of the basis for these experiences because of fear of ridicule by their colleagues. They often cite John Mack, Dr. John Mack, a leading psychologist who many of your listeners are familiar with. People understand that he was a proponent of the alien abduction phenomenon and almost lost tenure. He had to fight for tenure at Harvard University because of his extreme, unusual position relative to what is considered an accepted norm.
Right.
And given that he proposed it, for some reason, the Harvard administration wanted to remove him from the university.
Absolutely.
And he successfully fought it and won.
Right. Robert, I hate to do this to you. Robert, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Great. We have to take another break. I can't believe it. And we'll talk about John Mack a little bit more here when we come back, folks. So stay with us. We're with Dr. Robert Davis here on Inception Radio Network on the California MUFON Radio Show. We'll be right back.
You're locked into Inception Radio Network, Superior, Wisconsin.
Don't have a computer? Is your internet connection down? Don't worry. Use your trusty cell phone or landline and call into our listen line at 401-283-6700 to listen to the Inception Radio Network 24/7. Again, that call-in number is 401-283-6700. For the Inception Radio Network, I am MJ.
Are you a fan of Inception Radio Network? Do you reckon it's the best alternative talk radio station on the planet? Well, if you do, head to facebook.com/Inception Radio Network and like the page. Tell your friends, spread the word, and keep listening to the best.
Hello, IRN listeners. This is MJ saying hello and sharing an awesome secret I discovered. It's called DreamNuage.com. Fresh, raw, organic ingredients are used to create all their products. They are made in very small batches to ensure quality and freshness. Handmade in the USA, each product is created with care and with the finest organic ingredients. There are no preservatives, dyes, or chemicals in any product. Stop by Dream Nuage and relax. That's DreamNuage.com. Simple, raw, organic.
Hello, I'm Pat Usford, inviting you to tune in to Epic Voyages every Monday evening at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Inception Radio Network. To find out more about Epic and how you can become a member, visit epicvoyagers.com.
EPIC is Extraordinary Phenomena Investigations Council, the forum for scholars, experts, and those fascinated by and involved in the study of ancient civilizations, conspiracies, cryptozoology, ETs, and UFOs, fringe science, the paranormal, and all manner of extraordinary phenomena. Please join EPIC as we examine the mysteries of the world and beyond on epicvoyagers.com. And for updates on the upcoming interactive video presentations, the latest news and discussion on the EPIC forum, as well as research, investigations, and membership opportunities. Epic Voyages program schedule is on the Inception Radio Network. Thank you for joining us.
Howdy, this is Joe Mars. I'm inviting you to tune in to Epic Voyages, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, Monday nights, right here on Inception Radio Network. To find out more about Epic and how you can become a member, visit epicvoyagers.com. That's epicvoyagers.com.
Hello, everyone. Lorien Fenton here, host of the California MUFON Radio Show, asking if you'd like special access to exclusive and amazing information about UFOs, the paranormal, and all things unexplained. If you're nodding yes, then join IRN's Insider Club. As an Insider Club member, you'll get an all-access pass to premier Inception Radio Network content for only $4.99 cents a month. This includes live UFO and paranormal conferences, live streaming UFO sky watches, exclusive IRN radio and TV productions, and of course, paying radio with MJ and Ken Storch. So don't wait any longer. Visit InceptionRadioNetwork.com and click on Member Login to join IRN's Insider Club and get your VIP access today. Welcome back, everyone, to the California MUFON Radio Show here on Inception Radio Network. And Inception Radio Network doesn't know it yet, but they're going to be simulcast on a couple more stations. I haven't told them. I forgot. But I am being simulcast over at another network and a few others. And when I get my website up here pretty soon, I will let you guys all know where my other networks are that are simulcasting Inception Radio Network. I don't think they're simulcasting as that word goes. I think they replay it later for me, but there's quite a few people have gotten a hold of me and asked to replay my show, and I'm very grateful and thankful to all of them. So I want to thank them here on the network, and I want to thank Inception Radio Network for allowing them to replay my show here at Inception. So that's a great thing that they're doing for me, and I really appreciate that. So anyhow, we'll talk more about that in a few weeks after I figure out who all the people are that are replaying me, and I'll get it up on my website, and we'll have a big banner up there that says Inception Radio Networks are the gods of the internet, because they love to promote me. So I really appreciate that, you guys. I just want you to know that. Okay, so we're here with let's see, Robert Davis, Ph.D. I wanted to say it all formally now. I just want to say Bob. So Robert, tell people a little bit more about the John Mack stuff that you've looked into, because I know quite a bit about John Mack. As a matter of fact, Dr. Diane Powell, I don't know if you know who she is. She's working on the telepathy project right now. She's been a guest here on my show and my other show, and she's a wonderful woman, and she used to work with John Mack, and she's told me some amazing behind-the-scenes information that a lot of people don't know. But you're right, he went through an absolute, and all I can say is quote-unquote hell with Harvard University. So tell us what you know about him.
Well, it obviously surrounds the alien abduction phenomenon. And just to provide a little context to that, and I'll certainly work in John Mack's perspective on that. But if one believes that UFOs are extraterrestrial in origin, it does provide the foundation for understanding the alien abduction phenomenon, that is conscious or hypnotic-induced memories are being taken by alien beings who are subjected to certain biological procedures. But if you consider that UFOs are extraterrestrial, the alien abduction phenomenon is plausible. But if you believe that UFOs are nothing more than natural or man-made phenomenon, then this alien abduction phenomenon may be explained by one or more so-called non-alien theories, such as what psychologists propose as false memory syndromes, physical disorders, among other things. And it's still, whatever it may be, it is an extraordinary mystery worthy of further study. The point is, how do we prove it? If aliens, in other words, are abducting humans. But the strongest evidence to support the alien abduction phenomenon is the consistency of the experiences by those who claim to have been abducted. And Bud Hopkins, Dr. Jacobs, and of course Dr. Mack contend that there's sufficient evidence to support the fact that people are being or have been abducted by aliens. Despite the pseudoscientific belief by the scientific community that this is not happening and is not recognized as a real event. But John Mack certainly contends that individuals have experienced sexual liaisons as part of their abduction experience. They forget the majority of their experience. They return to Earth, usually in a different location from where they were taken. They may have a feeling of oneness with God or their abductors, and they have long-lasting effects of their experience, be it psychological or physical. And initially, John Mack did not believe in the alien abduction phenomena, and he opposed Dr. Jacobs' position on that theory, who utilized primarily hypnotic regression as the primary form of evidence to support his contention that these aliens are using some kind of mind scan when they look into the abductees' eyes and somehow tap their consciousness and communicate with them, along with harvesting sperm and eggs for whatever reason. Yet, the American Psychological Association does not regard hypnosis as a legitimate form of procedure or evidence to support the notion that people are being abducted by alien creatures. However, there is a small percentage of people who do recall being abducted without hypnosis.
Yes, that's absolutely
as the
true.
basis to recall. Though the majority of people who claim they have been abducted do so on the basis of hypnotic recall, which is not accepted in a court of law, although hypnosis is beneficial as regarded by the American Psychological Association for a variety of reasons, but not as a valid, accurate means of recalling past memories. Nevertheless, John Mack did believe, through his investigation with hundreds of individuals who contend that they have had this experience, to be of normal psychologic state, and the consistency of their reports provided him with sufficient evidence to contend that something strange is going on, and more than likely that they are in fact being abducted, despite what Carl Sagan says, a leading astrophysicist who said that alien abductions represent a form of psychosis, hysteria, or hallucination, as many psychologists contend. But he does support the phenomenon, and he concluded that the majority of abductees are not confabulating or lying or dramatizing their experience or suffering from any mental illness.
Right.
And he does have some supporters who also believe that to be the case. But here again, we despite John Mack's position that we are dealing with what he considers to be a profound mystery that has major implications, he doesn't. He had to obviously try to convince the administration at Harvard for his position, who considered it to be nonsensical. And it's fringe science, but it is part of the UFO phenomenon that can't be dismissed. But more recent evidence, based on a questionnaire by, I don't know if you know, Kathleen Marden and Dennis Stoner, they did a study whereby, based on questionnaire, their contention was that the majority of those who have an abduction experience believe that it has occurred throughout their lifetime. The vast majority of people also report that they have unexplained marks on their bodies, and that they were revisited on numerous occasions, being taken from their homes to an alien craft. And they go through that similar type of experience. And I'm not going to go into great detail about that. But the similarity of experiences when they are abducted, whether or not it is actually happening, in and of itself is an interesting phenomenon. Now, it may be happening. They may be abducted by aliens, but even if they're not, the fact that there is a similarity of such an extraordinary event in and of itself, I think, should be a basis for many investigative psychologists and sociologists to regard the phenomenon as an interesting research topic because of its role in the person's life. And the association between the similarity of their reports and memory processes and possible psychocultural influences, among others, that may help provide us with a better understanding of what you suggested as consciousness. Why are they having this experience? Or are aliens abducting humans? Or is there some other rationale that can provide a reasonable basis to explain such an interesting phenomenon? But it certainly does require more thorough investigation. And unfortunately, we don't have enough John Max, among other scientists, who are willing and able to conduct research in this area. A psychologist up in McGill University, which is not far from where I'm located, Dr. Don, I believe his name is Don Derry. He evaluated several abduction cases, and he's firmly convinced that extraterrestrial occupants have abducted people in UFOs and have interacted with them. And he's a well-known psychologist, maybe right, maybe wrong, but it's hard to dismiss some of the contentions by leading researchers in the field of psychology. Doesn't mean they're correct, but it nevertheless provides a basis or foundation for others to build upon that work to better understand the nature of that phenomenon. But even John Mack admitted that the scars that people report, the scoop marks, bruises that they contend which occur after an abduction, he said they're too trivial by themselves to be medically significant.
Oh,
despite
really?
The fact that he believes, yeah. But nevertheless, he does believe that it is happening. But in order for us to continue with our research in this area, we really do need verification by independent research investigations of witness accounts of abduction incidents, and we don't seem to have any. We need verification by different investigators which document the validity of the reported alien hybrid baby. And many people abducted contend that they have an experience whereby they're brought into another room and they're allowed skin-to-skin contact with something that looks humanoid, or not.
Yeah.
And we also, and we also need replicated scientific results by different investigations about this alien implants that many people contend they have. And Dr. Lear, I think you mentioned him earlier, a surgeon who removed many so-called implants. One of his contentions was that during his attempt to remove it, the small device actually moved away from his metal scalpel, almost as if it tried to evade being removed. But again, we lack sufficient analysis and information about such devices that he contends he removed from individuals who claimed that they received that device as if it was a monitoring device by aliens. Now, we're really going into fringe areas, but it is a part of the UFO phenomenon that
oh, yeah. Bob, the whole thing, it's all connected. I tell people every day, not every day, but every week on my shows, I say, look, folks, it's not just it's this or it's that or it's that. It's a spider web. And it's all connected by the different strands in very many different levels. It's like playing 3D chess with the spider web, actually. I mean, that's how deep it goes. And people need to understand that's how complex it could be to get actually to the truth. It may be going through many what I call neural pathways of consciousness to get to that point where we understand what this is really all about.
Correct. You're exactly correct. But what confounds the issue here is many unsubstantiated conclusions by many leading ufologists, and I'm not going to mention names, but there are many anonymous ufologists, if I may say, who make the conclusion, as you and your listening audience are aware, that these UFOs are physical spacecraft that manifest in our time and space, and they are biologic forms. Some say that we're being visited by interstellar civilization that travel to other dimensions faster than the speed of light. Some contend that trying to understand the attitude of the UFO operators and aliens or extraterrestrials is of paramount importance, and they're suspicious of what they are, but they contend that they exist. And some believe that they're stored, alien life forms are stored in an underground facility in various bases, some in Arizona. And some contend that we can prove that through the testimony of many witnesses, that there are covert programs that have studied and figured out how the energy and propulsion systems are behind UFOs, which are not of earthly origin and are far advanced, and that we have reverse engineered some of their technology to our benefit or not. So here again, I'd like to see the evidence, but these types of conclusions, which are not firmly established with sufficient compelling evidence, I think is somewhat counterproductive, because they create a certain degree of dissolution in the minds of scientists and politicians, and I think it impedes cooperative efforts to help promote and enhance the quality of UFO-based research initiatives. I think it turns off a lot of scientists and politicians when they hear these kinds of claims without, again, sufficient evidence, besides the anecdotal and alleged contentions on the part of many. And despite witness testimony, especially through the Disclosure Project led by Stephen Greer,
I've got to interrupt you, Robert, I got to interrupt you for a second. What do you think about the Disclosure Project as a whole? Is that where you're going right now? Because I would like to get your opinion on it.
Well, the Disclosure Project is something that is very valuable. There is nothing wrong with trying to utilize the Freedom of Information Act that provides disclosure of documents that's not submitted to the public by agencies of our government, the CIA, FBI, Defense Intelligence Agency, and here in America, as well as many other countries where documents have been released for public review. But the Disclosure Project, which also incorporates what's called the exopolitics, is very interesting because it does allow the opportunity, and maybe over 500 individual cases, according to Stephen Greer, have been provided whereby people in the military, pilots, air traffic controllers, among other individuals in the military and government, contend unequivocally of their very unique experiences with the UFO phenomenon. And Richard Dolan, in his book, provides specific documents like the FBI memo in 1948, the Twining memo, Chadwell memos, among other types of memos that have been released through the Freedom of Information Act of some detailed accounts by high-ranking officials which contend that the UFO phenomenon is real and is likely of extraterrestrial origin, or at least non-earthly origin, especially when objects are seen by multiple witnesses from different locations, their high credibility of the witnesses, visual sightings that are confirmed by radar, electromagnetic effects which they contend that occur on members of the aircraft or those who are having a close encounter of some type. But there are some difficult to explain accounts that have been presented on the Disclosure Project, which can be viewed on YouTube. And I think anybody can access that.
Oh yes, definitely, yeah.
To watch, and I think it's, and I certainly recommend that people do so if they haven't already. There are specific incidents that people have recalled through the Disclosure Project, which has been documented in Richard Dolan's book, as well as Leslie King's book, which I believe is UFOs, Generals, Pilots, and Government Officials Go on the Record, which is very interesting. And she contends that she has been informed that there are a number of reliable sources that from high military contacts who say that they're aware of a hidden program for UFO research, and that it is closely guarded, even from people at the highest levels of the military who are denied access to it. So, is it true? I don't know. But if people listen to the evidence provided by the Disclosure Project, as well as the Citizens Hearing on Disclosure, which was recently held, I believe, in May of 2013, Stephen Bassett advocates for the need for a world conference that addresses this evidence. And he presented at the National Press Club a proposal for the United Nations to consider sponsoring a world conference that addresses the possible evidence for extraterrestrial presence. But there are many unique individual experiences that have been related to members of Congress about their unique experiences. And these primarily are from pilots who explain how they have attempted to elude UFOs traveling at up to 9,000 miles per hour that appear on their left wing and then their right wing and then above them and behind them. And while the pilot tries to outmaneuver them, the objects follow suit. And then eventually leave in the same manner in which they arrived. And how do you explain that? It's difficult to do so. Yet people, especially the pilots, will contend that they have these kinds of strange encounters, especially when their visual observations are confirmed by their own radar as well as ground radar. And when you have that kind of consistency, it's hard to dismiss. Again, it doesn't prove that it's ET in origin.
I'm sorry, I got to interrupt you again. I can't believe it. I just looked down at the clock, and it's caught us again. It's insane. I'm sitting here listening, I'm fascinated, and I forget to look at the clock, and the next time I do, it's time to take a break. So here we go, folks. We're going to be winding it up here in the last half hour, so get your questions into chat if you'd like to ask Dr. Bob if he's got something if he can answer your question, he will. Let's just put it that way. So get it to me in chat, and we'll ask him right after the break. So stay with us.
You're locked into Inception Radio Network, Superior, Wisconsin.
Don't have a computer? Is your internet connection down? Don't worry. Use your trusty cell phone or landline and call into our listen line at 401-283-6700 to listen to the Inception Radio Network 24/7. Again, that call-in number is 401-283-6700. For the Inception Radio Network, I am MJ.
Hello, IRN listeners. This is MJ saying hello and sharing an awesome secret I discovered. It's called DreamNuage.com. Fresh, raw, organic ingredients are used to create all their products. They are made in very small batches to ensure quality and freshness. Handmade in the USA, each product is created with care and with the finest organic ingredients. There are no preservatives, dyes, or chemicals in any product. Stop by Dream Nuage and relax. That's DreamNuage.com. Simple, raw, organic.
Do you have a smartphone? If so, Inception Radio Network is the best app for you. Available on iTunes, Android, Samsung, and most other app stores. Just search Inception Radio Network. With the app, you can listen live, check out podcasts of recent and past shows, view our videos, see what shows are coming up, who the guests are, and, via the chat room, send live questions to those guests. You know it makes sense. Check your app store now. Inception Radio Network. I'll see you there.
Are you looking for a cure for boredom? Never worry. IRN's new interactive website introduces a number of ways to pass time while you listen to your favorite show. Choose anything from the IRN chat lounge, the game lounge, video lounge, or the mood lounge. These fun, exciting features let you chat in real time with fellow listeners, view live skywatches, play daily posted online games, or pick a show based on topic. The choices are endless. Use your time wisely, keeping it all on IRN.
Hello, everyone. Lorien Fenton here, host of the California MUFON Radio show, asking if you'd like special access to exclusive and amazing information about UFOs, the paranormal, and all things unexplained. If you're nodding yes, then join IRN's Insider Club. As an Insider Club member, you'll get an all-access pass to premier Inception Radio Network content for only $4.99 a month. This includes live UFO and paranormal conferences, live streaming UFO skywatches, exclusive IRN radio and TV productions, and of course, paying radio with MJ and Ken Storch. So don't wait any longer. Visit InceptionRadioNetwork.com and click on Member Login to join IRN's Insider Club and get your VIP access today.
Hello, I'm Pat Usford, inviting you to tune in to Epic Voyages every Monday evening at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Inception Radio Network. To find out more about Epic and how you can become a member, visit epicvoyagers.com.
EPIC is Extraordinary Phenomena Investigations Council, the forum for scholars, experts, and those fascinated by and involved in the study of ancient civilizations, conspiracies, cryptozoology, ETs, and UFOs, fringe science, the paranormal, and all manner of extraordinary phenomena. Please join EPIC as we examine the mysteries of the world and beyond on epicvoyagers.com. And for updates on the upcoming interactive video presentations, the latest news and discussion on the Epic Forum, as well as research, investigations, and membership opportunities. Epic Voyage's program schedule is on the Inception Radio Network. Thank you for joining us.
Howdy, this is Joe Mars. I'm inviting you to tune in to Epic Voyages, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, Monday nights, right here on Inception Radio Network. To find out more about Epic and how you can become a member, visit epicvoyagers.com. That's EPICVOYAGERS.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the California MUFON Radio Show. I'm your host, Lorien Fenton. We're here with Dr. Robert Davis, Ph.D. He has a new book coming out, and I hope you all pick it up because it looks like it's going to be extraordinary. There's so much on his website, too. The website is theufophenomenon.com, and the book is called The UFO Phenomenon, Should I Believe? And I like that because, you know, it's a balanced perspective. We kind of need that. On my show, though, we all know that I bring on as many people as I can that tell us about their more awakened UFO encounters or alien being encounters or what have you. I don't have as many people on that go through hypnosis and come on here, but I do bring on as many people as I can that have actual like 3D reality, it was right in my face type of experiences. And I wanted to ask Robert, after he finishes what he was talking about that phenomena of the 3D alien standing in your face, what that means to him, and then we'll go to the questions out of the chat room tonight. So, Robert, why don't you finish up what we were talking about there before the break?
With respect to...
Oh, we were talking about John Mack, and then we went into the whole Disclosure Project, and then I'm trying to figure out where we were at the last second there. Well, you know what? I'm going to ask you what I asked you on the break. Forget that. Let's go to this. You have an amazing sentence. I just love it. It's in your on your website under the Should I Believe section, Theories and Cases of High Strangeness, and then there's the Overview section and the Extra-Dimensional Hypothesis. And in the last paragraph of that, you sum this up with saying, the psychic realms, so mysterious to us today, may be an ordinary part of an advanced technology. And this, you know, to me, an advanced technology can mean so many things. It could be God, it could be our consciousness, it could be a holographic universe, it could be an AI computer interface, it could be very similar to the Matrix. What is your take on what this advanced technology could be?
I don't pretend to have a clue, and I don't think anybody will have a clue, although Stephen Greer may contend that there is an advanced technology that provides us with a form of energy that we do not fully understand, but it may govern the behavior of UFOs. There's a leading physiologist and engineer, Dr. Paul Hill, that
I love Paul. Yeah,
sufficient detail about his perspective from a scientific point of view about how UFOs are governed, and explains their behavior in more using physics and principles related to that as a basis to explain some of these strange experiences that people are having. But when we get to these cases of so-called high strangeness, which I believe Jacques Vallée coined, we're talking about some extraordinary experiences in terms of coming into close contact with a variety of different beings who may point some kind of device at people that paralyzes them or makes them invisible. Things of that nature, and what you refer to as the UFO ranch provides another line of evidence that's consistent with high strangeness. And Dr. Salisbury wrote a book called the Utah UFO Display, a scientific report. It's a very interesting read due to the long-standing strange effects and events that are reported by hundreds of people over 50 years, I believe, associated with the UFO ranch, or I think you refer to it as the Skinwalker Ranch. And these include not only UFO sightings, but animal mutilations that Linda Moulton Howe has researched a great deal, disappearances, poltergeist events, even sightings of Bigfoot-like creatures, physical effects on plants and soil, and humans on this ranch. And there have been studies done by Kelleher and Knapp, I think you mentioned Knapp earlier, who spent some time at this ranch, and the National Institute for Discovery, which was founded by Robert Bigelow, also conducted research on this ranch. And he admitted that it was difficult to get evidence consistent with scientific publication. And
absolutely, yeah.
Even though the scientists,
yeah, go ahead. And I want to say one thing when you're done with that thought.
Yeah, even though these scientists admitted to have seen balls of light, unknown creatures, and UFOs and mutilated animals, they don't necessarily say it's ET in nature. But
correct.
There's certainly something very unusual and highly difficult to explain. But that's something is occurring without question because people over time, especially people who bought the ranch, I believe Tom Gorman bought the ranch in 1994, and he said he saw floating spheres of different sizes and colors, blue spheres, which induced fear in them, which convinced them to sell the ranch. I certainly would have done the same, but they see blue orbs, which may be ball lightning. You can't dismiss that as a possibility. Cattle were mutilated, with precision, as evidenced by removal of an ear, genitals, the tongue, etc., with remarkable surgical skill. They've noted black triangles that hover and disappear, even reptilian creatures and humanoids that exist with the UFOs. So there are certainly unusual events that seem to be unique to the UFO ranch. The question is, why is it just at this ranch? Or is it at many different locations around the world? Or are these events just, here in Utah?
Right.
But Dr. Salisbury provides a summary of the research founded by Robert Bigelow by the National Institute for Discovery. And some of the significant findings were that 30 or 35% of the cases involved silver metallic objects. Many of them were discs. Many were domed or round or egg-shaped. They hover, they move slowly, they accelerate rapidly. The typical types of kinematic UFO behaviors that are typically described not only at this ranch, but in all contexts, by people on the ground as well as pilots in the air. And they contend that many of these objects were 10 to 100 feet in diameter. So is it a natural phenomenon that science does not yet comprehend? Is it a state of consciousness that we cannot explain that gives rise to these kinds of descriptions of experience? But what is so unique about the I believe it's called the Utah Basin, It certainly requires additional study, especially with respect to why is this particular area so unique in relation to other places. Why doesn't this happen more frequently? Not to dismiss that something profound is occurring, but what it is, it's only a matter of speculation as to what truly is going on.
I want to interject something to you, Bob. And I know this as a fact, okay? I know somebody who worked for Bigelow, and he worked with him not at the ranch, but was a consultant to the guys who actually went to the ranch. There is so much more that they know about that ranch that we're never going to know about. I can tell you they've done complete mineral samples. They have done complete analysis of the area. They've done frequency checks of the whole area. They know things about that will never be told to the public, at least not in my lifetime, I don't think. They know things that you and I will never know about. And my question to you is, how does that make you feel as a scientist that these guys are keeping all this information from you? Because I know they know this stuff, and I know it for a fact. So,
well, I'd like to know why they are keeping it.
Exactly.
This falls under the so-called conspiracy theory that many ufologists contend exists. That certain agencies of the government, maybe not even known to the president, exist but are not being shared for whatever reason. I have no idea why they are holding this secret. And it raises some questions by the fact that they are not making it public. Why aren't they? I don't know why.
Bob Bigelow owns the research, and he's decided that we don't get to know about it. It's that simple. And there may be military implications as well, and they may have told him, you can't let the world know about this, what's really, really going on, that you've discovered there. And maybe, and just maybe, because my friend can't talk to me about it because he's on a whole disclosure thing with Bigelow. He's not allowed to discuss anything. But bottom line, it just may be that they don't really know what's going on. But they have done the scientific research. I can guarantee you that. They have done stuff that in such different frequency levels that he can't tell me about. But I know for a fact that that's what his expertise are in. That's why they brought him in. So
it's very interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's really interesting to me why we don't get to know. And one other thing, I'm sure you know about this. One of the scientists actually put his arm inside of one of the orbs at the ranch. You know about this, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, and it didn't come out the other side. So that is just mind-boggling.
Not unique to that ranch, but it people do contend that they have had that type of experience.
Absolutely. And those are the bigger basketball-shaped type of orbs. And this one, I believe, was orange-red and not the bluish one. So there you go. Well, you know what? It's time. It's that time of the show where I read questions from the chat room. So are you ready for that, Robert?
Of course.
Okay. Now, just try to keep them short because the problem we've got is we've only got about 10 minutes left. So here we go. Does Robert believe NASA or other space agencies have encountered or have seen evidence on planetary bodies in our solar system that may indicate some type of alien contact or artifacts?
Well, if they have, they're certainly not disclosing it. So it's hard to firmly believe that they have evidence to that effect. In fact, NASA, as well as the White House, has made a public statement not long ago discounting their knowledge. It doesn't mean that they don't have any, but they have publicly stated that they have no evidence of any extraterrestrial activity that they are aware of now.
Right. Okay.
You can't interpret that too literally, but that's their contention, not surprisingly. There are some incidents, and there are certainly some astronauts like Musgrave, Dr. Mitchell, Gordon Cooper, who firmly contend that we are being visited by beings not from our planet. Gordon Cooper said he saw a UFO, land on a desert and take off, leaving an impression on the ground. Edgar Mitchell has certainly, I believe he was the sixth person who walked on the moon, firmly is a believer in the ET phenomena, based on his conversations with many people in the government and military. There are Russian cosmonauts who have had extraordinarily unusual experiences that defy explanation. If my memory serves me correct, and I do discuss this in the book, there were 3 cosmonauts who viewed what they described as angelic-like beings outside their craft, which was dismissed by NASA and the Russian space agency as a manifestation of a lack of oxygen or some other hallucinatory event. However, when 3 other astronauts joined their crew on the International Space Station, guess what? They also reported the same experience, which kind of discounts the hallucinatory, psychological aspect of it.
And Robert, did they see the same entity? That's my question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Several of them. Yes.
Yeah.
And when they were interviewed afterwards, they were deemed to be of normal psychologic state. Their reports were consistent, and it was pretty much thrown under the rug. And
absolutely.
Again, hard to explain. And then there's that popular.
Well, you know what? We're going to have to conclude that question. Okay. That was a great answer, I got to say. There was lots packed into that. So, and that was from Bill Bill NY. I believe it's Bill in New York. And he has a bunch of other questions here, but we're going to skip the Zimbabwe question, Bill, because that's not in Robert's purview, as they say. And what we're going to skip on to is, Robert, do you know anything about the black-eyed children?
Oh, what's the term for that? The star children?
No, these are they're called black-eyed children, and they are supposedly very kind of evil, kind of sinister little beings that look like normal kids that have completely black eyes that knock on your door and act in kind of a demonic way like a vampire and ask to come in your house, and then they mess with you. And I'm not sure if they kill you or eat you or... I don't know what it is, but they're...
Is this on Halloween night when they're trick-or-treating?
I don't know. Okay, so we'll let that one go. We'll let that question go.
Never...
Well, there's a whole book and there's a whole phenomena around it. So there's a book about it. Oh, yeah, there's all kinds of crazy stuff around this black-eyed children phenomena. So check it out sometime. It's lots of fun. Now here's a very good question from Bill in New York again. It says, why does it seem that there are so many sightings over military or nuclear facilities that have been witnessed by military personnel and people in our space program as well? And I think we kind of covered the space program part. You want to address the military bases? Do you know much about that?
Well, if you ask me what do I think is one of the most compelling forms of evidence to support that a very strange occurrence is happening is just that. And Robert Hastings certainly has done an extensive amount of research in this area, meaning the effects of UFO activity over nuclear bases, both here in the United States as well as Russia. And this has come out in the Disclosure Project as well as through the Freedom of Information Act. And the Department of Defense and the CIA have documents that do reveal that military personnel have sighted these UFOs over nuclear weapon areas, and that they have deactivated and then activated nuclear missiles one by one, after which and before which UFOs were sighted by members of the Maelstrom and Minot Air Force bases, among others. And they contend that it is virtually impossible for missiles to be deactivated, as if there's some kind of electromagnetic effect that caused such an occurrence. But it was highly difficult to explain, and formal memos by generals were promoted that
that's right
were alarming. The Strategic Air Command came out with memos that essentially stated that these objects are occurring over these nuclear bases, and they are a cause for concern. Certainly, anytime something goes wrong with nuclear missiles, we have to be alerted for obvious reasons.
Yeah,
but,
well, more than alerted. How about just completely getting in there and dealing with the situation? That if anything scared me, Bob, it is the fact that these entities, whether they're there in our heads or we're creating them, or if they're from another dimension, I don't care. I don't like the fact that they have that much control over our weapons. That really scares the bejesus out of me.
Yeah, and you wonder if they are ET, what's their message or intention of doing that type of thing? And maybe it's telling us stop it.
Yeah, and in most cases, that seems to be what they were saying. That's the impression that everybody got. Yeah. So
there was an incident at the Lorien Air Force Base where UFOs were tracked for many hours, and they zoomed away from 25,000 feet to 45,000 feet. Then they stop. Then they move up to 72,000 feet. This type of activity, and play games with nuclear missiles and their level of functioning. Now, could this be an electromagnetic event by some atmospheric phenomenon? Possibly, but it's an area for debate.
Yeah, definitely. One last question here because we're running out of time. And this is from Neutron. And I think you basically answered this, but I'm going to ask it again just to summarize it. Does Dr. Davis support Dr. Jacques Vallée's belief that some of these entities are interdimensional? And that's from Neutron.
Well, here again, I can't support it.
Okay.
Nor can I deny it. I simply don't know, and I don't think anybody does, because it's highly theoretical about whether or not there are parallel universes. As you know, theoretical physicists debate this all the time. So it's hard for me to say with conviction one way or the other. And I can't deny it. I can't accept it.
Okay, well, that's good. That's a great answer. So what I'd like everybody to do, we have about a minute left here. I want everybody, when you can this week, I want you to go to theUFOphenomenon.com. It's theUFOphenomenon.com, and check out Dr. Davis's articles. Everything about it is just absolutely wonderful. The site's got packed full of information, and as we found out tonight, Robert is full of information himself. He's well researched. He's very balanced in his ideas about things, and I appreciate that, and I know all of you out there do too. And you have scholarly publications here up on the website. I gotta click on that. Oh, cool. So you've been published in quite a few journals, it looks like.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
In my field of research, yes.
Yeah, that's great. Good. I love that. Okay, everyone, be sure to check out theUFOphenomenon.com. The book is coming out what date now, Robert?
Well, Amazon says February 28th. It can be pre-ordered. They may advance that date, but it can be pre-ordered beforehand, or they can go to Schiffer Publishing, Schiffer, who, of course, published the book, and obtain it through them probably sooner than they can on Amazon.
Wonderful. And that's also on your website, correct?
Yes.
Great. Wonderful. Okay, folks, well, we're out of time, and I want to thank you, Dr. Davis, for being on. You've been wonderful. And everybody out there, I'll see you next week on the California MUFON Radio Show here on Inception Radio Network. Have a great week. Good night.